Have you ever noticed that everything that you do or not do is based on how you feel? Well, this actually I heard in the first time I actually heard it and really dug into deeper is by a gentleman called Neville Goddard. And he wrote several books. This is like the entire series of his books, but the book they wrote is Feelings is a Secret. And what he says is that essentially everything that you have is based on your feeling, and everything that you will get is based on your feeling too. And it's actually pretty deep, because if you realize that we tend to control our reality, we get to control what we get, right? And that's what he's getting into, right? Is that how we feel is a secret of you getting everything that you want, or even of the things that you don't want. So let me give you a scenario. So let's say you got home after, a really long day, and your friend calls and says, hey, would you like to come out and work out with me? And you're tired, you're exhausted. It's not your normal workout day. You probably say, no, thanks. I'm tired. But let's say you got home that same evening and your dad calls because your mom was rushed to the hospital and they need you to go. Without thinking, you're going to go, right? Obviously, the difference between those two scenarios, one is obviously the priority, right? But essentially, if you dig deeper, it's how you felt of that scenario that's going to make you move or not move, right? Obviously, your parents are more important than just working out with your friend because you're tired. But however, it's the feeling that they created inside you. So what I want to give you in this video is a practical way where you can actually start changing the way you feel about certain things. That way you can act on them. Now, what I want to share is that we set our goals, right? And there's certain things that you want to have in your life. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but you set a goal, let's say the beginning of the year, and you start working towards it, but something happens. Something happens where you either don't achieve it or you get sidetracked, but like 30, 60, 90 days later, it's like, well, I'm not where I want to be, right? But initially in the beginning, you had all this energy to go achieve your goal. Now, the reason that is, we all know about our conscious goals, the goals that we set, right? But this other psychologist, Fred Adler, actually created a theory. And what he said is that we actually have goals, unconscious goals, right? Now, these unconscious goals, they're very different, and they can be from our conscious goals. So let me explain a little bit. So if we're trying to change our feeling, we have to understand what's actually making us feel maybe negative towards something, right? Because the reason you normally don't achieve your goals is there's something that's holding you back, right? Even though you feel all energetic in the beginning to achieve it, you don't fully achieve your goals. And the goal, like Neville Goddard said, is the feeling is the secret. So how do we change this feeling? Well, first of all, we have to understand that there is probably a negative goal in our unconscious mind that's not allowing us to achieve that goal, right? So how do we change it? How do we access it? Well, step number one, by watching this video, you're aware of that there's something unconscious. You have an unconscious goal that's preventing you from achieving what you want. Whatever that may be. It could be a relationship, right? It could be more money. It could be starting the business. It could be, asking for a raise, or maybe, even just the other level of a promotion, right? Or, finding a significant other, whatever it may be. Now, once you have that goal and you know that something is holding you back from achieving it, and that most likely it's that unconscious goal, this is how you start tapping into your subconscious mind and start changing the way you feel towards something. That way you can achieve everything that you want. So there's this little part in our brain called the reticular activating system. This is what Neville Goddard doesn't touch. So essentially, this little part, reticular activating system, is the connection. It's almost, it's your filter. It's the filter between the conscious mind and your subconscious mind. What you have to understand is that your subconscious mind is on all the time, right? It's on when you're awake and it's on when you're asleep. So it's constantly working and actually controls over 90% of everything that you do and think. Now, consciously, right? And this is our awake part. That's, about 5%, 5 to 10%, right? So consciously, you can set your goal. But if subconsciously or unconsciously you have other goals that go against that goal, then you're never going to achieve them, right? It's almost like hitting your head up against the wall, because no matter how hard you work at, and no matter how hard you try to make your feelings better towards it, right, and get excited about it, maybe, take some more energy drinks, right, it just doesn't seem to work. Well, that's because you have a unconscious goal. And this is where Neville Goddard tells us that, we want to be able to tap into this before we go to sleep, right? To envision what it is that you want before you go to sleep, and go to sleep with that feeling, right? However, what I have experienced is that if your feeling of that negative unconscious goal is stronger, right, than the actual goal that you want, it doesn't matter how much you visualize, it doesn't matter, how much you try to feel, right, before you go to bed, it's not going to impress the reticular activating system, which is that in between that sends the information consciously over to your subconscious mind. So this is what you want to do to influence your subconscious mind directly. 20 minutes before you go to bed, what you want to do is, get everything ready to lie down in bed, right? And then get a notepad. Writing on paper is better, but you could do it on the computer, but there's more power if you write this in paper. And then you set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes. Now, when on the top of the paper, what you want to write is, let's say you're going to go for more financial abundance, right? Maybe you're going to ask for a raise, or maybe in your business, you want to charge more for what it is that you're doing. So financial abundance, right? And you just struggle to kind of get to the next level if it's in your business, or, making more money. So what that means is, even though consciously you want more money, there's a unconscious goal, something, a belief that's holding you back. So how do you change this? I'm going to give you the answer right now. So on the top of that page, what you write down is all the things that I have ever achieved in my life. Again, at the top of the page, everything that I have ever achieved in my entire life. And what you're going to do is, when that 10-minute timer, you're going to start it, and you're going to start writing. Do not stop. You might stop at the first one. You might have 5 things, 7 things, but do not stop. Keep going. And then what you want to do is go through the whole 10 minutes. And you might struggle and might wait and kind of sit there, but keep writing. And the more you do this, the more things that are going to come up, right? But what you're doing is essentially you're remembering, right? You're remembering all those things that you have achieved in your life positively. So what that's doing is that it's programming your subconscious mind before you go to sleep that you're worthy, right? That you're worthy, that you're confident. It's reminding it of all these amazing things that you've done. Now, a great question is, how small, how big? It doesn't matter. Actually, the smaller, the better. It could be, that when you were a child, you saved, $100, and you bought something that you really enjoyed. Like, that's a huge achievement for like a child to save that much money, right? Or maybe, you graduated high school, right? You were the first one in your family to graduate high school, or, you got a 4.0 average, right? It really, all it has to do is for things that you achieved in your life, right? You're essentially just writing that for 10 minutes. You do this, turn off the lights, and you go to sleep. The next step, you wake up in the morning, right? You get up out of bed, preferably before you interact with anybody. As soon as you wake up, you look at that list and you review that list of all the things that you wrote again the night before. You read them again. And then you just make sure you smile, because as soon as you start reading all your accomplishments, right, you're going to get this feeling of just, it's an amazing feeling that you're going to get, just a happy feeling. Now, you continue to do this. What's going to happen is, what you're doing is you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. The reticular activating system is letting all that information, all that positivity into your subconscious mind to start making you feel more confident, more worthy, more abundance, right? And this now gives you the awareness of asking for more money at work, charging more for your services, and you're going to start changing that negative unconscious goal, and that's going to start allowing you to achieve all your goals. Now, you can do this for money. You can do this for health. Normally, when you don't achieve your goals, it's because there's part of that goal that you really don't want to have. So for instance, maybe, for instance, if it's money, right? Like you want to have more financial abundance, but there is a negative goal or a negative belief inside in your unconscious that says, well, if you have more money, right, maybe you'll look like, you're taken away from other people. And usually these beliefs come from, when you were a child, of where some sort of unworthy event happened. Maybe, your parents gave you some money and you lost them, and they said, you can't handle money, right? So we're not going to give you any more money, right? So something in your childhood planted that specific negative goal or that belief. Now, if you do this over and over again, I guarantee in about 3 days, usually that's about average 3 or 4 days, you're going to start feeling so abundant. You're going to feel so energetic towards that goal, or just in general, because what you're doing is you're programming your subconscious mind to feel better. As Neville Goddard said, feeling is a secret. And once you start feeling better and more lined up with what it is that you want, you can achieve those goals, because there's really nothing stopping you, right? The feeling is a secret. And now that is how you start changing your feeling to start achieving your goals faster and a lot easier, just with 10 minutes a day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you found this useful, please, share it, like it, and put some comments down below and as well, share it. And I would love to read your comments down below.